Nigeria moves to attract long-term investors with 30-year Naira bond. Bankers Committee earmarks 200 billion Naira for agri-export. Plus, federal government targets 4 million barrels per day oil production. Details of these and more on this edition of Business Express on the network service of the NTA. I am Muplang Dakok. Nigeria is now using cheaper and longer tenor debt to reduce the burden on debt and increase the nation's reserves. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Pat Oniha, while releasing the public debt data for 2018, said annual debt grew by 12.25% to stand at 24.387 trillion naira at the end of 2018. Leah Katung Babatunde completes the report.
The major objectives of the debt management strategy are to ensure that the public debt is sustainable and borrowing is done on the prudent and least cost basis. A look at the 2018 report showed that more progress was made towards achieving the target debt stock mix of 60% domestic and 40% external debt. Pat Onia, the Director General of the Debt Management Office, said the implementation of the strategy taken so far led to an injection of 855 billion naira through the redemption of Nigerian Treasury bills in 2018 and a general drop in the federal government's borrowing rate in the domestic market from over 18% per annum in 2017 to between 14 and 15% per annum in 2018.
When the government borrows externally, it directly contributes to external reserves. So most of us have seen the Naira exchange rate stable for about 2 years now.
On plans for 2019, the federal government will, through the DMO, undertake more of project-tied borrowing and access more external borrowings from concessional sources as contained in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan (ERGP) and the nation's medium-term expenditure framework (MTEF).
And thankfully, the Central Bank of Nigeria has dropped the monetary policy rate. Okay, so this is a good time to go back to that strategy of avoiding the risk associated with refinancing.
There is also a plan to issue 30-year federal government bonds for the first time to meet needs of annuity funds and other long-term investors while developing the domestic capital market.
The International Monetary Fund (IMF) says Nigeria's economy is recovering. Giving President Muhammadu Buhari's economic initiatives a pat on the back, executive directors welcomed Nigeria's ongoing economic recovery, accompanied by reduced inflation and strengthened reserve buffers. The IMF also noted that real GDP increased by 1.9% in 2018, up from 0.8% in 2017. On the back of improvements in manufacturing and services, supported by spillovers from higher oil prices, ongoing convergence in exchange rates, and strides to improve the business environment. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday backed Bankers Committee by approving 200 billion naira facility to support and standardize agricultural produce exportation. The funds will be disbursed by commercial banks at single-digit interest rate and 10-year tenure. The products that will be targeted according to the committee include oil palm, cocoa, cashew nuts, sesame seeds, and shea butter. The committee expects the export of these products, which is in abundance across the country, to boost foreign exchange earnings. More than 11,000 Nigerians have been trained in various industrial skills development programs of the federal government. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, in a message at the graduation ceremony in Abuja, recently expressed the present administration's determination of fast-tracking industrial growth and providing gainful employment for the teeming youth in the country. Joy Uzo reports.
22-year-old Sandra Moko, with a degree in international relations, has been unemployed since leaving the university in 2015. She got enlisted last year under the National Industrial Skills Development Program, NISDP, being implemented by the Industrial Training Fund. With the training she received in photography, she no longer goes around seeking for employment.
Thank you, and we plead that you do not stop this program. We plead that you continue this program because it has helped in reducing unemployment.
Sandra is one among the over 11,000 trainees at this graduation ceremony who have received 3 months training in different industrial vocations. The ceremony therefore marks a turning point for them as they were mobilized with starter packs based on the skills acquired.
Where training occurs without the accompanying empowerment tools, the results become less impactful. Your degree certificates just gives you an added advantage and prepares you for the challenges of the future. But the skills that you acquire and have is what would entrench you in the marketplace of today.
Since the inception of the National Industrial Skills Development Program, over 150,000 Nigerians have been equipped with skills for entrepreneurship.
Now, cybercrime, usually associated with computers and the internet, has become a fast-growing trend in crime in Nigeria and the world over. This report takes a look at the threat posed by cybercrime in the society. Chimobi Walter Naji reports.
With the vast development comes various categories of crime meted on unsuspecting users of the internet. Cybercrime cuts across bullying, internet hacking, scams, among others. Though some persons have fallen victim of this crime through fake internet dating, some respondents seem to be unaware of the threats posed by these internet bullies.
Let them be sure of the person they speak to in the chat with, and the person they talk to, and they should confirm very well before doing any transaction or any business with them.
Some others who are aware of this type of crime and have taken adequate measures to guard against falling victim say cybercrimes in the country could not be unconnected to unemployment, poverty, and corruption.
First of all, we seek for rearrange attitudinal change, first of all, of our youth. These are the skills that the government, ICT center, can still channel in a way how to help the country.
There are many ways you can prevent that, you understand, like ISP. You understand? There is a way an ISP can track down fraudsters.
It was, however, the general consensus of respondents that network providers in Nigeria put adequate measures in place to checkmate the excesses and activities of these internet bullies.
To discuss issues of cybersecurity and data privacy practice in business and the economy, I am joined in the studio by the President Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria, Remi Afon. Welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's begin this way. What accumulates into cybersecurity and data privacy?
Actually, cybersecurity and data privacy are quite related.
Okay.
Because now data is the new crude oil, and that's the reason why cyber criminals are looking for data. Okay. It might be in form of financial details, okay, credit card information that cyber criminals can steal and use it to get information that they might use to sell to other people. So there is a need to have security in place to protect this data. It might be personal information as well. It might be medical information. So these are the things that the cyber criminals are looking for. And that's the reason why there must be adequate protection against data.
Okay. All right. So it seems like data security has kind of been underreported. It seems many Nigerians don't even know that such a thing exists. So how serious are the threats, since Nigerians or many Nigerians don't even know about it? Okay,
the reason why people don't know about it is that there's no law in place that enforces organization to disclose data breaches. In some other countries like UK and America, you are compelled to disclose if there's a data breach, and that brings you to what we call a GDPR law in Europe. So there's not such a kind of a law in place in Nigeria, and that's the reason why a lot of people don't know, but it happens. The volume is massive, and a lot of data breaches, a lot of cyber crimes are taking place in our country. Okay, so are you saying that there are no penalties for any person caught in the act of cyber crime in Nigeria? No, there's penalty. In 2015, the cybercrime law was put in place, which makes it a crime if people commit cybercrime. And there is so many different categories of cybercrime and different punishments, for people that commit it. So the law is there. It's just that the awareness is not there, and so there's a need for capacity building in terms of even the law enforcement agencies and even the judges as well. Okay, so even with these laws that you're talking about, it seems to persist. This cybercrime is still prevalent in Nigeria. So why is this so? Despite all the laws and... it's one thing to have law. It's another thing to have the control in place to monitor cyber criminals, their activities, to be able to checkmate them. So if someone is not caught, so he hasn't committed a crime until that person is caught. So that's what we call forensic investigation, where you can really prove that someone has committed the crime. So there's a need for capacity building of law enforcement agencies to be able to apprehend cyber criminals and be able to prosecute them. Okay, so let's talk about how cybercrime affects businesses. Do you think that they really affect businesses, and do they affect the ease of doing business in Nigeria? Yeah, because organizations lose a lot of money when they get attacked by cyber criminals. So that's one. Then there's what we call a reputational damage. If we know that a particular organization has been hacked, nobody will want to trust them with their data. You understand? So it's going to affect them. International companies will not want to come and do business with us if they know that we are prone to cyber attacks. Okay. So can you give tips to our viewers on how they can identify cyber crimes, and also how they can prevent them from happening to their businesses or to their organizations? Yeah, basically we just have to implement some basic controls as individuals as well. For example, if you have a personal laptop or a desktop at home, ensure you have antivirus installed on it, not a pirated antivirus that people just buy, and make sure it's one that you buy. There are some free ones online as well that you can buy, and make sure that you update it from time to time. Then think before you go online. Be careful about what you share with people. Make sure you protect your information from time to time, because whatever you publish on the internet, it becomes forever. So this is something we have to think about. Okay, so these free antiviruses you're talking about that are available online, how safe are they? Are they all safe? Yeah, there are some reputable organizations, that are online, that are safe, free antivirus, but it's a limited protection that they give. So if you want more protection, you have to pay some certain token as well to be able to get that kind of level of protection. But saying that, there are still some crooks out there that are sending malware that claim to be free antivirus. So we have to be careful about that. Make sure it's a reputable organization that that they deal with antivirus before you download it on your system. Okay. You talked about protecting data. People should protect their data. Is antivirus one of the ways of protecting such data, or are there other ways that people can protect their data? Yeah, there are so many ways that you can protect. So depending on the sensitivity of the data, there is what we call encryption, whereby you encrypt your data.
Okay.
Even that's what we call a two-factor authentication, whereby you don't use only password, because these days we know that password gets stolen easily.
Okay.
You know, we've seen cases whereby millions of Gmail password holders were, you know, they were stolen and sold in the black market. So two-factor authentication means what you know and what you have. It's not only the password. It might be in form of a text message that comes to your phone. There will be additional layer of security. So those are the things that we can enable. And you can enable that by yourself. You can enable it on all your social media accounts.
Okay. So let's talk about the solutions. When your systems or your data have already been, you know, hacked or affected by cybercrime, are there solutions to it? How can you salvage the situation, or is that the end of it?
So when it's, well, for most of the things that they steal from individuals is, you know, their passwords. So once that is stolen, they start selling it in the dark web. You know, so what you can do is to change your password and create extra layer of security as well, you know, like a two-factor authentication. Then, for instance, if it's your bank details that is stolen, your bank card information, then what you need to do is to approach your bank so that they can change that for you and block that card, so that the cyber criminals will not be able to use it.
Okay. So when you have a business and the business has been hacked or your data has been hacked, you can't go back to such data again. You can't salvage it at all.
Yeah, if it has been hacked and it's been sold in the black market, that is it, you know. So that means that's the reason why you have to notify your customers that this thing has happened to us, and you know, they need to take adequate step to protect themselves, maybe by changing some of their information as well. So it is very important for, you know, disclosure. We call it responsible disclosure. You know, you have to disclose but there's no law in place in Nigeria anyway, so that's the reason why organizations don't do that.
Okay. So looking at the economy, I would say, how much do we lose as a nation to cyber security crimes, rather?
Yeah, it is quite difficult to place a figure on it in Nigeria, because there's no statistics in place, there's no data collection in place, there's no reporting, so we won't be able to, but it runs into, you know, millions of dollars. I'm not talking about naira, and it runs into millions of dollars that we lose internally and even external in terms of foreign investment, direct foreign investment that is supposed to come into this country, but based on the fact that people know that when they start doing business here, their data is not safe because there's no particular law in place that protect data, so it makes it difficult for them to make that decision to come and do business here.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We've been speaking to Remi Afon, who is the President, Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming on Business Express.
Thank you for having me.
All right. This is Business Express. Remember, you can watch all previous episodes on YouTube, and our Twitter handle is NTA News Now. And moving on, Brent crude oil tops $70 for the first time since November as supply tightens. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, has urged indigenous operators to step up their investments and take over major operations from international oil companies, especially as many are already considering divesting and charting new paths. The minister emphasized the need to double oil production to 4 million barrels per day, as against the present daily turnover of between 1.9 to 2 million barrels per day. He added that changes in the global oil and gas industry are presently challenging the present exploration and investment strategies, as oil is fast becoming a degenerating asset, with alternative sources of energy taking over and attracting new investments. As Nigeria continues to make success in its efforts to ensure effective citizens' participation across the budgetary process, budget transparency practitioners and stakeholders say efforts to enhance transparency in the extractive sector and improve efficiency and effectiveness of the tax system is priority. This was at the Fiscal Transparency and Accountability Thematic Working Group of the Open Government Partnership in its first quarter meeting of 2019, held in Abuja, where discussions centered on current issues and priorities in advancing fiscal transparency in the country.
In some of the commitments, you see that close to 60–70% of what is stated on the action plan has already been accomplished. There are some areas that might not be accomplished, either time and or funding constraints, which we intend to roll into the second half.
Nigeria joined the Open Government Partnership OGP in 2016. And the week ended Friday, the 5th of March, was characterized by a maintained negative slide. The week closed positive. The all-share index appreciated by 0.21% to close at 29,616.38 basis points. Market capitalization closed at 11.124 trillion naira. Sterling Bank, Champs PLC and FBNH were the most active stocks. Hopes for progress in U.S.-Sino trade talks helped emerging market stocks edge higher for a 7th straight session. Let's take a look at the update of stocks across the country. And now for a look at the money market. Let's see how much the Naira is exchanging for other international currencies. And this is where we wrap up this edition of Business Express. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube, and our Twitter handle is NTA News Now. Remember to join us same time, same station Next week, Monday, I am Muplang Dakok saying, keep thinking and doing business.